Hey fellow gardeners, before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below if you love keeping your soil alive and thriving. Today, we're going to tackle something that might be quietly sabotaging your raised beds without you even knowing it. If you've ever noticed your worms disappearing or your soil becoming sluggish and lifeless, this video is for you. Worms are the unsung heroes of our gardens. They aerate the soil, break down organic matter, and make nutrients accessible to your plants. But certain things we often add to raised beds can drive them away fast. Let's get into it. Before we talk about what to avoid, it's important to understand exactly why worms matter so much. Worms don't just make your soil soft. They're natural tillers, constantly moving through the soil and creating channels that allow water and air to reach plant roots. They digest organic matter, turning it into worm castings, which are packed with nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Without a healthy worm population, your raised beds can quickly become compacted, nutrient-poor, and less productive. Essentially, worms are your underground allies, and anything that harms them harms your garden. Many gardeners unknowingly add materials that are highly acidic, chemical-laden, or otherwise irritating to worms. One of the most common offenders is fresh wood mulch from certain trees, especially pine and cedar. While these woods are great for suppressing weeds, they release compounds called phenols and resins that worms find toxic. If you're mulching your raised beds heavily with fresh pine chips, you may notice worms disappearing within weeks. A practical tip is to always compost these wood chips first for at least 6 months before adding them to a raised bed. This breaks down the harsh compounds and turns them into worm-friendly humus. Another big mistake is using high concentrations of nitrogen fertilizers, particularly synthetic ones. Quick-release nitrogen fertilizers can burn worms or create an environment too rich in salts, forcing worms to flee deeper into the soil or even out of the raised bed entirely. If you need to fertilize, consider using organic options like composted manure, fish emulsion, or seaweed extracts. These feed your plants while keeping your worm population safe. A practical example is using 1 cup of fish emulsion diluted in 5 gallons of water and applying it to a 4x4 raised bed every 3 to 4 weeks. This nourishes both your plants and your worms. Another major worm repellent is chemical pesticides or fungicides applied directly to the soil. Even those labeled as safe for plants can disrupt the delicate balance of microbes that worms rely on for food. For example, neem oil and other broad-spectrum soil drenches may eliminate harmful pests, but also strip away beneficial bacteria and fungi. Instead, use targeted organic methods for pest control. Introducing beneficial insects, rotating crops, and applying neem oil only as a foliar spray on the leaves rather than into the soil keeps worms safe and thriving. Many gardeners love to add coffee grounds or citrus peels to their raised beds, thinking they're providing free fertilizer. The truth is that fresh, uncomposted coffee grounds are acidic, and worms dislike high acidity in their environment. Citrus peels contain essential oils that can act as natural repellents to worms and other soil life. If you want to use these materials, always compost them first. For instance, layer coffee grounds no more than 1 inch thick on your compost pile and mix citrus peels in small amounts. After a few months, the acidity will neutralize, and you'll have nutrient-rich compost that worms will actually enjoy. Worms are highly sensitive not only to chemicals and additives, but also to the physical environment. Raised beds that dry out quickly or are exposed to extreme heat can become inhospitable. Adding materials that hold heat, such as black plastic or certain dark-colored mulches directly on the soil, can make worms leave the top layers. Instead, keep your beds shaded, maintain even moisture, and layer organic mulches like straw, shredded leaves, or aged compost to create a comfortable worm habitat. A practical ratio for raised beds is to maintain roughly 2 inches of organic mulch over the soil while ensuring it doesn't become waterlogged, which could suffocate worms. If you've accidentally repelled worms, don't panic. You can attract them back by feeding your soil with well-composted organic matter, keeping moisture consistent, and avoiding the harmful materials we discussed. For instance, sprinkle a half-inch layer of composted kitchen scraps across your raised bed every few weeks and lightly water. Worms will actively migrate toward this food source, and within a month or two, you should see the soil teeming with life again. The key takeaway is that worms are a barometer of soil health. Avoiding fresh pine or cedar chips, synthetic nitrogen, chemical pesticides in the soil, and uncomposted coffee or citrus peels ensures that your raised beds remain hospitable. Over time, these small adjustments lead to a resilient, fertile garden where plants thrive naturally and the need for artificial interventions is minimized. Think of it as investing in a long-term partnership with your soil residents. They reward patience with vibrant, productive beds. So, fellow gardeners, remember, what you add to your raised beds directly affects the tiny ecosystem below the surface. Worms are essential, sensitive allies. Avoid the things that drive them away, feed them well, and you'll see healthier plants, richer soil, and more productive harvests. If this guide helped you, don't forget to subscribe to Evergreen Garden. Share this video with your gardening friends and leave a comment about your worm-friendly strategies. Your soil will thank you and your garden will flourish like never before.